Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a pleasure welcoming you to this edition of the news in the Queen's language on Camdis television for this Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. Let's begin with our top stories. Residents of Kamer have been reassured that the tarring of the road will take off soon. Inhabitants whose properties were touched have begun receiving compensation. We Act Dance Association have continued to use the act to decry violence perpetrated against women. In sport, the list of 32 players of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon to take part in the World Cup qualifiers in September has been made public by the head coach Antonio Conceição. These and more will be yours in this edition of the news. Stay tuned. As you heard in one of our late stories, inhabitants of Kamer, whose properties were touched during the construction of the road, have begun receiving compensation from the government. On a very high instruction of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, the city mayor of Yaoundé met with the beneficiaries this Wednesday, August 11, where he reassured them that the tarring of the road will begin soon. Ruth Fonyong has more in the following report.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Koutes, said in a press release this Tuesday, August 9, 2021, that funds related to inclusive and resilient city development project works jointly financed by the World Bank and the government of Cameroon will be compensated from hands.
Our declaration of public use always ends with indemnity, and the urban municipality represented by the mayor of the town has mobilized necessary funds for indemnization. It was therefore necessary to sign this decree. We come to do a solemn announcement so that as from tomorrow, money will be available for the beneficiaries, so that by the time work begins, the population who have been wisely patient will be satisfied.
All those whose portions of land has been touched, properties destroyed, and economic activities affected will receive a token.
The long-awaited road construction will soon begin. This project haven't touched the properties of some citizens and properties of this zone. It was necessary for the people to receive compensation for an indemnity. The token will be paid as from today.
For this woman, graves and houses were destroyed. They took my houses and graves. I had 5 graves, 3 houses. Because my son is a chief, he told me when the news came, and that is why I am here. Some people are sure things will change from hands.
We cannot just be sure and estimate that from today things will change, because we received the representative of the head of state, who is the divisional officer of the Fundi division, and the mayor of the town, who reassured us that payments will begin and beneficiaries can start withdrawing.
The Inclusive and Resilient City Development Project for Cameroon was put in place to improve urban management and access infrastructure in selected urban areas, particularly for poor neighborhoods, and increase resilience to natural hazards and other eligible crises.
And now we take you over to the nation's economic capital, Douala, where SEMAC parliamentarians who began a 4-day sensitization on August 10th, 2021 to educate, inform, and strengthen the knowledge of parliamentarians in the nation's economic capital will run on to August 13th, 2021. Although the One Health concept has been known in Africa for several years, it remains a major challenge, as Anne Omeko tells us in the following report.
Human health, animal health, and a healthy environment was at the center of a workshop that took place in Douala, organized August 10, 2021 by the GIS project to assist the Central African Forestry Commission in collaboration with the parliamentarians to better manage forestry ecosystem of Central Africa.
We have noticed that a vast concept since the year 2000 enabled us to have responsibilities to face this pandemic, and the concept of One Health. Health is unique, whether it is animal, vegetation, or human health.
Organized during a moment when the world is facing sanitary crisis, during the 21st century with the deadly coronavirus pandemic, an opportunity for the organizers to inform, sensitize and train parliamentarians on One Health.
Unfortunately, it is a problem that appears in our daily agenda. Parliamentarians of Central Africa have united to tackle this problem and to make it appear in the political agenda of the sub-region.
A health concept to lay more emphasis on interactions between animals, human beings and the environment.
We will first of all reinforce our personal capacities because, if well noted, systematically we are yet to understand. So we have the mission to learn and speak out with authorities. The second angle of our workshop is elaborate on a strategy from the base with what has been given to us. We must have a sub-regional strategy implemented in 10 countries of CEMAC.
A need for multi-sectoral approach to help reinforce collaboration to protect humans and animal health and the environment. A timely workshop with hopes that participants will acquire competencies required to enable them better manage natural resources to promote economic development and nature protection.
We remain in the nation's economic capital, Douala, where administrative, municipal, and heads of services have joined their counterparts nationwide and across Africa to celebrate the 10th edition of the African Day of Decentralization and Local Development, as well as the 4th edition of the Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day. During the event, municipal authorities were challenged to spearhead the process of decentralization in the country, as well as sensitize the population on the vital importance of civil status documents. The following report has an in-depth of this story. Like many other African countries, Cameroon celebrated this August 10th, the 10th edition of African Day of Decentralization and Local Development and the 4th edition of Civil Registration and Statistics Day, a celebration that brought together administrative, municipal authorities and experts in the matters of decentralization.
The theme for this day is the contribution of arts, culture and heritage to the building of sustainable cities and territories. As you know, we are moving ahead with the process of decentralization, and it is important for this day, as it is being celebrated, for people to gather enough awareness of what decentralization is, and also in the theme of the day, how to use our culture, our cultural inheritance, our art to promote sustainable cities and sustainable territories.
Aimed at targeting the general and specific objectives such as sensitize the general population on decentralization, legal institutional aspects with focus on power transfer to municipalities, as well as educate the population on the importance of civil status registration with a view to holding the holistic, innovative and integrated civil registration system in Africa.
Decentralization can promote art and culture, and art and culture in so many domains have been transferred to regions and councils, and councils, regions or local authorities have these competencies to exercise, and it is their duty to help contribute to the promotion of art and culture in their territories. And as they do, the second way is that art and culture can be sold Arts and culture can contribute to tourism. Arts and culture can contribute to sell a territory. We have a lot of cultural expressions in the littoral region where we are.
Ratified by a presidential decree signed on October 31, 2019, the celebration of this 10th edition in Cameroon takes place at a time when the trend of decentralization in our country is undergoing a certain evolution, particularly in deepening and acceleration instructed by the head of state, Paul Biya.
And now we take you over to the northwest region of the country, where that region has celebrated the 10th edition of the Decentralization and Local Development Day, as well as the 4th edition of a Civil Status Registration and Statistics Day in Bamenda, chief town of the Northwest region. The occasion that brought together heads of services under the high patronage of the Governor Adolphe Lele-Lafrique, who called on a regional assembly to spearhead the issue of decentralization in that part of the country. Our Northwest regional correspondent, Neba Jerome, has more from Bamenda.
Celebrated under the theme, the contribution of art, culture and heritage in the sustainable development of African cities and territories, it was a day to create awareness to the population of the Northwest region about decentralization.
Let the population come on board. Decentralization is power to the grassroots. Let the grassroots population be able to participate fully in decision making, and also the follow-up of projects and activities that are earmarked for their communities.
Chaired by Northwest Governor, who tasked the Regional Council to use decentralization to pacify the people of the region.
So we are expecting from those institutions, from the Regional Council to the councils, to take ownership of decentralization, use it to pacify, develop and bring long-lasting peace in the Northwest region.
The 10th African Day for Decentralization and Local Development is culminated with the 4th African Civil Registration and Vital Statistic Day.
The birth certificate is the first item, the first certificate, your identity that you need in order for you to have any documents established. Without that, you can't have your national identity card, you can't have a passport. So if a child doesn't have a birth certificate, that means a bunch of them they're not eligible to go to school, because that's what you need for a child to attend school.
The effective development of the Northwest region therefore lies in the hands of the Regional Council, as the institution has its full organs functioning today as a result of the major national dialogue.
In the Northwest region of the country, where the National Director of a non-governmental organization, Defi Head Now, Ngala Desmond, has told journalists in the Northwest region to be vector of peace and development and not the contrary. The call was made during the close of a two-day workshop aimed at catalyzing journalists in the Northwest region of the country, under the theme, Catalyzing Media for Peace and Justice in Cameroon. Our Northwest regional correspondent, Neba Jerome, completes the story in Bamenda.
Reporting in a conflict-hit zone like the Northwest region is very challenging. That explains why over 25 journalists have gained knowledge on reporting in crisis areas.
I'm taking home a more professional approach to covering the conflict in the Northwest region. First of all, being able to disseminate information, being able to separate the fact from the fiction.
Facilitated by Eugene Fogwa and Blaise Ambong on topics such as the ethics and responsibility of journalists, conflict-sensitive reporting, hate speech and its dimensions, peace journalism and other interesting subjects that saw the participants work together with a trainee for 2 days in Bamenda.
This workshop has helped me greatly because it has pointed out so many things which I neglected at first, which I think right now I'm going to, avoid what I was doing which was not right, like signposting, which is so common amongst us practicing in the field.
According to the facilitators, the most needed peace in the conflict-hit regions lies in the hands of journalists.
The most important thing that would have made this training worthwhile is if journalists become more aware of the power that they wield and the influences that they have on the conflict, and use that information to sharpen their reporting, but also change the reporting in a way that minimizes the negative impacts that they have on the conflict.
Defy Hate Now, through its partner, has developed this project to strengthen the media in Cameroon to prevent violence, conflict, and contribute to peace and justice.
The main thing that we found wanting was the fact that many journalists, trained or people who are just radio animators, or people who animate online blogs, do not understand the power that they have in transmitting information. And that is why we thought it was better that we come close to them and catalyze them and push them forward to hold peaceful discussions and know that information they're sharing is, most especially in conflict settings, is sensitive, and that reporting should be reporting that can lead to peaceful discussion.
With objective to create a favorable environment that promotes dialogue, love, respect and tolerance, thus creating room for peace and reconciliation to gain grounds within the present context of Cameroon through responsible and peace-building journalism.
Being courageous and strong is the key point discussed during a press briefing organized by the We Art Dance Association. Organized by We Art Dance Association, a group of dancers who have come together to dance against all sorts of violence against women. They are sponsored by the Ministry of Arts and Culture as well as the Solomon Tanding Munas Foundation. Geraldine Nasser in the following report says the organization dances on all or preaching against all violence against women. Her report.
Under the theme Violence Against Women, the youth of We Art Dance World Association presided over a press conference this day at the Muna Foundation, Yaoundé. The association, which is made up of 3 groups of dancers, is out to dance for hope against all sorts of violence meted out on women, which has negatively affected women's general well-being and prevents them from fully participating in the society, and has tremendously caused from great strength on health care to legal expenses and losses in productivity.
The World Association is an association of dancers, jubilation of three groups of dancers, and these 3 groups decided then to bring out an event called Dance for Hope, because this is the season 2, the 2nd edition. The 1st edition concerns orphans. This 2nd edition concerns those women in our homes, in our environments, who are really threatened, who are beaten up, and all the rest. The main objective of this event is actually to bring out, to show to the Cameroonian population that we are interested in those women, that they are not alone, that they can speak out to the Cameroonian population, because honestly this situation is important more than one of a Cameroonian.
With the support of the Ministry of Arts and Culture and the Solomon Tandeng Muna Foundation, this association is out to show their interest in these women that are being violated every day, and to let them know that they are not alone through their prestation of dance which bring out emotions. They envisage to help these women to be courageous and strong, to come out and make their voices heard in the society.
It's a type of dance that brings out the emotions, and violations done to women is actually emotional. All of are mostly concentrated on those type of dances. Those type of dances really emotional, that brings out, that makes that even the illiterate person, the illiterate Cameroonian will understand that, okay, through these choreographies, that some women in the world, or particularly in Cameroon, who are suffering from a certain violation from their husbands, their cousins, their brothers. In fact, yes. The artistic work will be meant to represent actually those women who suffer, who have been beaten up, who have been violated, and all the rest. So the women of the association will be dressed as those women, like really with dresses that are already worn, that are already teared up, and makeup that will be like we are crying and all.
The association therefore is preparing to carry out a media tour in some areas in the city of Yaoundé to further sensitize these women and the population through their art.
If you are just joining us, you are watching the 6 p.m. newscast on Camdis television. In sport, the Argentinian-born striker Lionel Messi has sealed his 2-year contract with the Ligue 1 side Paris Saint-Germain. The Argentinian striker goes to Paris Saint-Germain on free transfer and will earn the sum of $49 million monthly. A press conference to officially unveil the 6-time Ballon d'Or winner took place this Wednesday in Paris, France. The following report says Lionel Messi will play alongside former teammate Neymar Jr. and national teammate Di Maria, among others. Take a listen.
Winner Lionel Messi has joined the French Ligue 1 side Paris Saint-Germain. He was received in French capital city Paris on Tuesday, August 10th, with a huge euphoria from the fans of Paris. Lionel Messi has signed a 2-year contract with an annual salary of $40 million. A press conference to unveil one of the world's greatest strikers took place this Wednesday. Lionel Messi is going to start a new page in his football career after 21 years in his former club side FC Barcelona. Messi's arrival shows Paris Saint-Germain will no longer be interested in Paul Pogba, a midfielder who signed a pre-contract with the club in January. It's been a great achievement for the Parisian, having signed 4 huge players on free transfer: Lionel Messi, Sergio Ramos, as well as Donnarumma. Lionel Messi will have to play with his former teammate Neymar Jr., alongside with his national teammates Di Maria and Fernandez. Lionel Messi confirmed his departure from FC Barcelona on Sunday after a press conference where the 34-year-old has been playing for 21 years under colours of which he scored 682 goals in total. He left FC Barcelona after the failure of his contract extension due to financial difficulties the club is facing.
Still in sport, 32 players shortlisted to defend the national colour of the indomitable Lions of Cameroon for the World Cup qualifiers in September has just been made known by the head coach Antonio Conceição. The list of the 32 players was revealed this Wednesday, August 11, 2021. Tabby Clarkson has more in the following report.
The Portuguese coach Antonio Conceição of the indomitable Lions of Cameroon has published a list of 32 pre-selected players expected to defend the national colours in the month of September 2021, when Cameroon takes on Malawi and Cote d'Ivoire in matches counting for the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, a competition to be played in Qatar. Of the 32 pre-selected players, we have 5 goalkeepers, 10 defenders, 8 midfielders, and 9 attackers. We have many young and new talented players who have been pre-selected, injected in the squad by coach Antonio Conceição, but some old names are still present. Fai Collins, Michel Ngande, Zambo Anguissa, Kunde Malong, Abubakar Vincent, Chupo Moting, or again Carl Toko Ekambi, just to name these ones. Cameroon's match against Malawi will be played on the 2nd of September at the newly constructed Olembe Stadium. It will be the first official match to be played at the Olembe Stadium if the venue is not modified. Most importantly, this list is coming days away before the draws of the 2021 African Cup of Nations that Cameroon will be organizing. Of course, the draws will take place on August 17 in Yaoundé.
And out of the country, Ivorian ex-president Laurent Gbagbo has proposed setting up a new political party. He dramatically returned to Ivorian politics after being acquitted by the International Criminal Court. Geraldine Nasseh has more in the following report.
The Ivorian ex-president Laurent Gbagbo has proposed setting up a new political party. He was speaking at a meeting of FPI leaders when he hit out at his former prime minister Pascal Afin Kwesane, who leads one of the factions. He proposed creating a new instrument of struggle in line with the ideology and ambitions. Gbagbo, who was in power from 2000 to 2011, dramatically returned to Ivorian politics in June after being acquitted at the International Criminal Court in the Hague of crimes against humanity arising from post-elections violence in 2010 to 2011. During his years in prison in Hague, a deep rift developed in the FPI, which Gbagbo founded in 1982. Many attempts to bridge the rift following Gbagbo's return have failed, and last week the legal faction mounted a rearguard action after Gbagbo convened a top-level meeting of the party leadership.
That international report takes us to the end of this edition of the news in the English language. Jean-Jacques Zay will be with you at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. I'll be with you tomorrow, same time, for another edition of the news. Do stay tuned to more interesting programs on Camdi's television. Good evening and goodbye for now.